Welcome to a new video in my home automation series, and I received a couple of products from Meross, and this is the first one that I'm reviewing. Well, actually two of them. I received two identical products, and well, there is another one which if you follow my YouTube channel, then probably you can see a post about the picture of these two products. And this one, as you can see, it is a Matter Smart plug, which, well, obviously European model, so this just plugs into your wall socket, and then it gives whatever device that you are plugging in here, it becomes switchable from your phone, from your voice assistant. And there are a couple of interesting quirks about this device. Well, first of all, it's Matter enabled, so you can use it directly in your Alexa, Google Home, or Apple HomeKit system. But then the whole thing also supported in its own application. So Meross has an own Meross app which is available for Android and iOS. And then it allows you to basically do the same thing what you can do in Google as well. So you can control, you can set up some simple features. But the other thing is that this device supports energy consumption monitoring. And the energy consumption is not something that is supported in the Matter specification, well, at least not at the moment, the way I understand it. So there is this very interesting sort of mix of features that you have Matter support, so you can use it in Matter-enabled systems, but the Matter doesn't support energy metering and energy consumption. So in your Apple, Google, or Alexa application, you just only see that, you see it as a switch. You can switch it on and off, and whether it's on and off. But then if you want to use the energy monitoring and all these other features, you have to go into the Meross app. And you have to set it up in the Meross app as well. So I'm going to go through all the features. First, I'm going to set it up in the Meross app, and then I'm going to transfer it into Google Home. But I will do the other way around. Well, not the other way around as well, but I will do the direct setting up in a Google application. So I'm going to use one of the device one way and the other device the other way. So you see both of the the options that are available. It's interesting. There is a lot of nice functionalities in the energy monitoring. You can export it to an email. You can assign tariffs, and you can see the energy consumption in like kilowatt hours or in your local currency as well. So there is a lot of interesting features, but as I said, that's only available in the Meross app. And also there are a few other configuration options, like you can set this plug up to automatically turn itself off. So you just have to turn it on and it will turn off automatically, let's say after a couple of hours or 10-15 minutes, whatever you set up. And that's again a feature which is only available in the Meross app. You can do probably the similar feature in some of the other Apple, Alexa, and Google app as well. You can probably do it via automations, but it's more something which we have seen in Sonoff or in Tuya, where you can set it up as a behavior on the device itself rather than on automation. It's a small difference. Maybe it's a difference because what Matter supports or what Matter does not support, but at the end you get to the same functionality anyway. So as I said, in this video I'm going to talk about this product. We have a quick look at what's included in the box, and then I'm going to show you how it behaves. It's in own Meross app, how you set it up, and then I also do link it to Google Home so we can see how the device behaves in both of the systems at the same time. And then I just use the second device to set it up in Google Home as a Matter device directly, which would be the same way how you could do it in Alexa and Apple HomeKit as well. But the linking from Meross to the other systems, that again is available for not only for Google Home but Alexa and Apple HomeKit as well. So there is a lot of different ways you can use it, and it's a nice, little neat device. It supports 16 amps. So what else you can ask for? Let me talk about the device itself. Although I think it's going to be very straightforward. There's not a lot that we can see here, and the design is very similar to some of the Blitzwolf smart plugs that I have. I had, and I think I've seen one that are Zigbee compatible, you know, slightly different design, but it's the same thing. Well, it's a European model, and I think the did I see a very similar design in UK and the US models as well? Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'm quite surprised that they managed to fit all the electronics and the relay and everything into this really small package, but yeah, they did. And then we have a button to turn it on and off, and then of course we have the things here and that child protected, you know, shutters that I really hate because it makes plugging in things really difficult. But yeah, and on the side there is nothing here, and you can see the specs if this would focus. I don't, yeah, so it shows, well, oh, yeah, so it says 16 amps and yeah, so they managed to fit a 16 amp relay inside. I haven't seen any of these disassembled, so I think the, you know, the insides are very small, so I would probably not put this through 16 amps. And on the side we have the sticker for the Matter QR code, and that's pretty much it. And let me continue with sort of the unboxing. Again, it's going to be fairly simple. So we go through, well, we have the box here. I don't think that we are going to see anything in the box which is new, and so I'm just going to put this aside, and also the device, so we can see some of the leaflets. And that's an interesting one. So there is a separate leaflet which tells about what is you know, what is Meross and the Matter, and using it. And I quite like this chart here, which says what are the different advantages and disadvantages of using the Meross app as opposed to using one of the Matter app, well, not Matter apps, but Matter ecosystems like Alexa and Google Home and so on. And as you can see, you can do the local control in all of the apps, but then if you want some of the other, you know, features, you have to use a Meross app, and that's what we are going to talk about later on. And also we have some documentation, and it's a fairly big documentation. It comes in quite a few languages. I received the one which I think is designed for the European market, because you can see there are, well, you can see most of the European languages here. And then if I flip it around, we see even more of the sort of like Central European languages. It doesn't have Hungarian, but as you can see, it has Czech, Slovenian, Poland, and Slovak as well. Okay, so that's the documentation and the small leaflet that was provided. So I'm going to start with the initial setup, and as I said, it requires a separate app, so it's not Tuya compatible. It's called the Meross app, and this app is, well, you can find a QR code in the documentation, and then you can download it for iOS and Android. And when you set it up for the first time, obviously you have to go through the usual setup process. So I think it the way it has it's gone for this time is that it asks for an email address, and then you get a verification code on that email address, and then it will let you in and set up your password. So basically an email address and a password combination. And then once you are in, this is the user interface that you get. I quickly want to go through this because it's it's a new user interface. Well, it's pretty much the same as everything else, but there are a couple of other things. So there is a separate user section, and you can see the various integration here, which we are going to look at later. And then you can do feedback, and you can do like I quite like this one, like a central firmware update. So you come here, and then you can see all the devices that needs firmware update, and you can access their social channel, and you can ask whether you want to have marketing emails or so. And then the whole shopping is also included in the app, which probably like a wrapper of their website, but you can see what the things that you can purchase here as well, and you can see the various products. So you can see that this smart plug comes in various different versions. Obviously the US is slightly differently packaged, but other than that, it's the same. And they have quite a few things, and there is a forum integrated into the application as well. Okay, I have too many of these pop-ups, and we can have, well, we can see that there are a few activities here, and then we have the smart screen, which is separated into scenes and routines, and then you have the home screen. And setting up or creating a new device is also quite easy. I think it probably contains something like a Bluetooth, because pairing was really easy. You just select the product, and this one is the MSS 315, so the one which is up here, but this shows like the UK version, but yeah, it doesn't have a picture for the European version. But again, you select this, and it just adds the device to your application. You just follow the on-screen instructions. It's just really a couple of steps. So it's easy to do, and then you can control it from here. So you can see that I've connected this horrible flickering fire lamp, which I bought on AliExpress, and I really hate it because it gives a really bad effect. I should have thrown it out. But anyway, you can see that there is an indicator light on the device. So it shows green that it's on. And if I turn it off, then it just turns off. And of course, the control works from here as well. And then it updates on the app with a little bit of delay. And if I go into the details, then I can see some, stuff here. So this has, power metering, which is an interesting one because, well, as we are going to see later on, as far as I know, power metering is not supported in Matter. So again, if you want to see power consumption data, then you have to come to this app. And you can see it shows the power consumption, the current today, the current at the moment, and the current today, and also for the month, and then you can go back to week and month. I mean, I haven't used it for a long time, so I don't have an awful lot of history, but you get some nice graphs, so you can just understand what the consumption was. So if you go back to certain days, or yesterday or this day, it was connected to my USB charger, so it wasn't really using a lot of power. And this LED draws so little power that it cannot even display, but it definitely works. And probably there is like a lower threshold of, I don't know how many watts that you need to pull in order to show some values. And that's how the main application looks like. So I can go back and I can turn it off. And now it's not showing anything. It's interesting that I don't have a button here for on off. I need to go outside. I mean, usually for, TUI and so on, I usually have a button here as well. But what they decided to show here on the details screen sort of is just dedicate the whole thing to power consumption. Okay, so let's go through the settings so we can see what is available in the app. So you can change the device, you can change the photo, you can decide whether you want this indicator LED to be lit to show the status. And there are a couple of functions here for the electricity bill calculations. So for the first thing that you can do is you can turn this on and you can just specify a simple rate. So you specify a currency and the rate itself. So it just has a single rate, so it doesn't have like, off peak or on peak. You can just put a value, and that's basically just the multiplication of the kilowatt hours. So nothing fancy, but it just makes it easier to read if you care more about the monetary value than the kilowatt hours used. And you can export the history as well. So it's nice because you get an email about that one. So if I go back to 24 to today and export, it will take some time. And I can clear the electricity data as well, and I can do this, the power consumption mode. So you can decide whether you only want to measure how much power is being consumed through this plug, or you can use it to create electricity production as well. To be honest, I don't think that, how often you will plug in like a solar inverter to this one. Maybe you can use it for like these small balcony setups that are quite popular in Germany, but like a proper one, probably you are not going to run it through a plug like this. But anyway, the option is here. And I also quite like this concept that the user manual is included in the documentation. Again, it's just like, like an integrated PDF file, but yeah, you have it, and you don't have to, look for a separate browser and, Google and that sort of stuff. And the time zone, location, and it also shows you Wi-Fi signal, firmware address, sorry, firmware version, and the usual bits. So yeah, it's okay. It's nothing much. And again, just want to draw your attention to that small leaflet that I was showing in the beginning. So all these things about electricity, monitoring, consumption, the graphs and everything are only available in this app, because that's not something which is supported in Matter. And also, let me go through some of the routines as well, because there are there are routines and there are scenes, and the way it looks for me is that the routines are something which are on the device, how the device performs, which in other systems it's usually like hidden somewhere in the settings. So what I could do is I can create a routine, and you can see that you can create an on-off schedule. So that's sort of the the schedule functionality. So you can create a smart plug, you can set whether you want it on and off, and then you can set a time, and then you can also specify the day of the week, and you can also link it to sunset and sunrise, and also specify how many hours and minutes before and after sunset, sunrise. So I think it's quite comprehensive, what you can do in the schedules. And of course, you can have many of these schedules, and you also have this functionality where you can specify that I want the plug to automatically turn off after, let's say, 1 hour and 15 minutes, and again do it every single week of the day, or just certain days of the week. And that's sort of like the inching or the auto off functionality, and that's something that I've already configured here. So you can see that auto off for the smart plug, and turn it off after 2 minutes every day, and I can enable and disable it from here. And now if I go back and if I turn it on, now you can see that it automatically starts a timer. So that will turn off after 2 minutes. And yeah, so that's again one of the functionalities. So now the energy consumption and this auto off functionality, which is only available in this app. I mean, you can do similar functionality on the on Alexa, but what I suspect, the way this is working, it actually sends this information down to the device. So this auto off functionality would work even if we are going to use it from other systems. So you can decide whether you want to use some of these functionality to configure the device here, like schedules, or you can, you can probably create similar scenes in your HomeKit, Google, or Alexa application. And if I go back to Smart, and if I want to create scenes, well, the scenes are like you can create a scenes that you control multiple devices together, turn things off, turn things on. And of course, that's probably more used when you have lights and you want to create you want to set lights to certain brightness and colors with a single click, and do it on multiple lights. So these scenes and routines are not exactly the same what we have seen before, but more like the settings or special configuration of a single device or a group of devices together. But it's nice. These are probably the most used things that we would configure in these smart devices. And the 2-minute timer is now coming to an end. You can see that it has just a couple of seconds to go, and yeah, it's off. So it's working. So now what I want to do now is set up a Google Assistant integration. So what is happening here now is I'm going to link this basically Meross device with Google Home now. And I agree and link. And now we just have to wait for a little longer. And yes, I have a smart plug which I want to assign, and I'm going to assign it to my study. Next. And done. And if I go to my devices, and probably I have to scroll all the way down, then study. I wonder if it, oh, smart plug is here, and now it's on. Yeah, I have an on-off thingy here, and when I go into the details, then I can see that it was connected through a Meross app. So actually now the way I'm controlling this device is not through Matter, I think not through Matter, but the general, smart integration that, Tuya and Sonoff and many of other systems are used how to control the device. So what I'm not really sure at this moment, if this is now local control between my Google Home and this smart plug or not. I mean, if I would link it directly using the Matter integration, then it would be local control, but I think probably at this case is going through cloud, which means that if you want local control, then you have to link it directly to, let's say, Google or Alexa, but then you won't be able to access the device in the Meross app, so you will not have those extra functionality. And by the way, if I turn it on here, let me go back to the Meross app. Is it going to time out? Okay. So I go back. Yeah, so you see the auto is still working. Good. So yeah, it works. It's a smart plug, so you're not going to have anything special in this app. Just a simple on-off. There is a very slight delay between I press it and the plug operates. Actually, it's very minimal. So from this small delay, I wouldn't be able to tell if it's going through the cloud or local control. And when I look at the integrations, oh, by the way, I waited 2 minutes now, so the plug turned automatically off. So if I go to the automation and I first select household automation, the interesting thing is that on the starter screens, when I say when the device does something, I can't see the smart plug here. So you can see that I am in the study, and out of these devices I can't see the smart plug. But then if I go to the action devices, add actions, adjust home device, and again if I scroll down, then a study. So the smart plug is here, so I can turn it on and off, but I won't be able to use the action, which I think is debatable if that's useful, if that's really necessary, because after all I can use the button here, and maybe I want to configure something when I press it here, but I would say this is a minor thing. But it works, it does what it's supposed to, so I'm quite happy, and this is what I expected, and I can control this smart plug from this from the Google Home application as well. So it's good. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I have received 2 of these smart sockets, and the second one hasn't been plugged in yet. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to link this directly to my Google Home. I tried the same thing. I'm trying doing the same thing with Apple, but now with the new version of iOS, you have to have a hub, and I don't have an Apple HomePod. But the process is going to be very much the same if you have Apple or if you have an Alexa product. You just need to have an Apple HomePod or like Alexa Echo. So first of all, let me just plug this in. Oh, no, come on. So now it's in. It needed a little bit of force, and I can add a new device. So new device, and I confirm my home, and now we just wait. And I think we wait because then it starts to find the device on the network on its own. And yeah, it's a Matter-enabled device. Next, and I need to read the QR code, which is on the other side. So, oops. Damn. And please read the QR code without flipping out. Oops, that was successful. Agree. I'm not really sure how it's going to show up in the recording as I go, portrait and landscape and back. Good, now we just have to wait, and it's going to be done quickly. So again, if you are using your iPhone and you have an iPod, then in the home application you just click plus and it says add accessory, and then it will take you straight to the camera screen, so you can just read the QR code. And I think, again, probably I mentioned it for all my all my Matter device reviews, that QR code is important. So maybe it's a good idea if you take a photo of that QR code, so in case that gets scratched from the device or something happens with it, you have the QR code so you can read it from your from your photos, or you can note down the numbers which are below the QR code. I know it only takes a little bit more time for Google to find these Meta devices, but we just have to be a little bit patient. It already said that it connected the device, so I'm not really sure what we are waiting for at this screen. And guys, we are here. So I can turn this on. I can turn the other one on as well. Oh, by the way, the lamp comes on. It just wasn't in view, and now the focus is gone. Oh, wonderful. And yep. And this is now definitely local control because it has nothing to do with the Meross app. And actually, I just want to show you, yeah, so the Meross app still only sees the, the first smart plug. And I can still control it from here. It looks like we lost the routines on the way. No, the routine is still enabled, well, technically. But then the other one is not visible. So now I can only control it from here. And of course, now even if I go into the first bulb or the second bulb, you don't see any of the energy consumption details because, it's just not part of the Matter ecosystem or the Matter specification. And to be honest, it would be really nice if it gets added later on, so these devices would start showing all this information in the sort of like a native Matter app, which is, well, for me, the Google Home or the Apple Home or the Alexa Home app. So yeah. So as you can see, it's a nice device. I think good looking. I like this small form factor, probably not small enough that you can stack them side by side in a European extension lead like this one, especially not the ones which has like this 45-degree one, because they sort of like block each other in the socket. But still, I quite like the design. I like that it's very easy to set up, and you still have the choice to, use the Meross app, or you can use the Google Home or the Alexa Home or the Apple HomeKit. The only thing that I sort of don't like, but it's not really the Meross's fault, is that the nice power consumption functionality is only available in the Meross app. So if you need that, and you're certainly paying for that when you pay the device, then I guess it will still make sense to use the Meross app. Maybe you can just install it and forget about it, and then only use it if you want to look at the power consumption, and still just rely on, let's say, Google, Apple, or Alexa as the main control of the device, especially if you have a lot of other devices in that application as well. But yeah, you have the choices. You can use it if you want, or if you don't want it, you can just use the Matter sync to link the device directly to the target Apple, Google, or Alexa ecosystems. If you're interested in this product, I'm going to leave purchasing links in the video description. But I think that will be all for today. Thanks for watching, and hopefully see you next video.